Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing very well. Today's valued viewer request is from Shuntera. Cap, have you ever done a video showing the difference between full power brakes on, then release brakes, versus just full power on without any brakes? Do you get in the air quicker? By how much time and how much distance? So RC, he's asking, does doing the full brake and hold get you in the air quicker in terms of time? And then will it also use less runway? Okay, so let's think about this logically. Will it get you up quicker in terms of time? No, absolutely not. Because all that time that it takes to spool the engine up, you know, we've done a video on this. It takes like 7 or 8 seconds to do the engine, to spool the engine all the way up. By which time, the guy without holding the brakes is going to be halfway down the runway by then. So time, no way. I mean, I may be wrong, but I'm sure you'll agree.
If you're counting from the time that you start your throttle.
Yeah, which we will do. So it will be 3, 2, 1,
right.
Go, and that's when you do the throttle, right? Okay, so we'll see, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. In terms of distance, I'm pretty sure it will be quicker because we did a video when you were away last week where we looked at what makes you take off in a shorter distance, and it's acceleration. Acceleration, with all other things being equal, is all that matters, and you will accelerate quicker if your engine is already spooled up. So there are 2 ways of testing this. A, the super scientific way, where I do it in single player and slow it down like I did on the other video, but that's not very sexy. I thought we'd make this one a bit more sexy and make it a bit more like a race. So we've got myself and RC. RC will do the method with the brakes. So you will put brakes on. When I say, you will spool to full, and when you see the engine's maxing out in terms of RPMs, you'll let go of the brakes. I will be not holding the brakes. Okay, in terms of rotation, to make sure that everything's perfectly scientific or as close as we can get, full aft stick from the moment you literally start moving, just go full aft stick, okay? So that means there's no variation in what we're doing to the aircraft. You will get a little bit of a tail strike, but you know, it's as long as it's equal, we'll be fine. We're in 8 we're loaded up, maximum weight, 135% takeoff weight, and that's just going to exacerbate the experiment and make it a little bit easier to measure than if we were doing, you know, super fast F-15s or something. It gets harder to measure. I'm pretty sure I'm going to rotate first because of the reasons that I just thought of, and when I start to rotate and when I feel my wheels leaving the ground, the rear wheels, I'm going to pause and take the measurements. So get on your brakes. 3, 2, 1, go. Full power, I'm spooling off. See you, RC. Alright, full aft stick. Nozzle steering off. I like using a bit of nozzle steering up to 50 knots.
Rolling.
Right. Yeah, by this time I'm already so fast, I don't think there's any way you can catch me up. Let me know if you are literally rear wheels off, because I may be wrong.
Yeah.
As soon as you hear the tail strike, it's pretty much when your rear wheels are getting off. Okay, I've paused it at this point because my rear wheels are just leaving. In fact, I'm going to unpause it a tiny bit more. Yeah, my rear wheels have just left. I won in terms of time, as I thought I would. It's just, you know, logical. Let's check the distance though. Pixel perfect is where I did it. So I am leaving the ground in a distance of 0.987. 2, 1, go. So you just pull all the way up and don't let off half a sec, even if it tail strikes. Done. There's your rear wheels. 0.972. There's not much in it, you know. There's only 0.015 in that. That is only 91 feet, which is not a great deal. So it's slower by...
Give me the difference between the end of a runway, though.
So it's slower by several seconds. I don't think it's important measuring how many seconds it's slower. It's just slower. Yeah. But it gained nearly 100 feet. Should we try again? Just to make sure we get scientific. Yeah. Go. Full aft stick, by the way, all the way. We'll add a tiny bit of de-acceleration on because of the extra drag of the elevator. Watch myself from F2 so I can see that wheel coming up.
And gonna come up pretty quick here.
I'm off. Almost identical. 0.989. God, I love a good DCS data set. Go. Wheels up. And you did it in... You've gone up. 1 nautical mile. That does not make sense. Let me just measure that again. Well, you were supposed to be lower, but you've actually increased the distance this time to...
That's weird.
1 nautical mile. Okay, well that doesn't make any sense. Did you do anything different?
Nope.
You know what? I wonder if the pause is messing things up. But the only thing on multiplayer is we're dealing with latency. Yeah, he's a third of the way of the world away. Things aren't quite as they seem on multiplayer.
Let me measure it. Where'd you measure from? Yep. Same.
On mine. Okay, let me bop out. Let me jump into single player then. I think it's probably simply a fact that we've got some latency going on because this plane should accelerate faster, sorry. Right, I'm going to do it without holding the brakes. 2, 1, go. Again, I'm full aft on the stick just to make everything absolutely empirical. Now the good thing about single player is I can actually be more accurate. I could slow the game down and, you know, get the nearest millisecond when those gear leave the ground. That's the one superior, gives us slightly superior data accuracy. Just get nearer the time. Now what we can do now is slow it down. Obligatory tail strike, and that is gear up. Yeah, that's both wheels off the ground. I can see below that. Super accurate. Is actually very similar to the multiplayer. Dangerously similar to the multiplayer at 0.992. However, when I'm the server, there is no multiplayer latency. Brakes on. And full power. We're going to wait until they're completely settled, which is, I guess, why we are always going to take longer. Well, assuming that we are measuring this from when we start to spool our engines, which is what we're going to assume, then this is why it's always going to take longer, because I'm going to sit and wait until those engines settle. If you measured it from now, brakes off, then it would be quicker in terms of time, obviously. I guess it depends what you asked us to measure. Okay, we're full off stick. Okay, we're getting near rotation, so let's zap. Both wheels off. I see shadows under both wheels. 0.988. No, it's right, RC. The multiplayer was right. There's just nothing in it. So with the pre-spool up method that we just did there, we had a distance saving of 0.004, which is 24 feet, which is basically nothing. You know, 24 feet. The aircraft's 24 feet long. Essentially, I think we can keep doing all this all day. I don't think there's any different distance saving, which I can't understand, because with the brake and hold method, you are going to accelerate quicker. It's got to. So why doesn't it work, valued viewers at home?
You're saving the distance of spooling the engines.
Well, that's it. That's my argument. So it should be shorter, right? But it's not. It's the same. It's the same. Averaging, you know, with tiny errors, it's coming out the same.
It should do it for any aircraft.
I think there's some physics here that I just don't understand. I think there's some basic physics that I just don't understand. I'm going to have to bat this one back to the valued viewers and say, why is it not taking off in less distance once the engine is pre-spooled? In my mind, it should do it because you're starting with power. The guys are saying try different planes and stuff, but it's not going to matter. It's a clear case of basic physics here. We can, you know, one plane's going to do it, all planes should do it. And the guys are saying try without a different loadout and stuff like that, but looking at this scientifically, there's no reason this shouldn't work. All right, I think I'm listening to what the viewers are saying. What they are saying is that we've polluted the acceleration data by making the aircraft too heavy. So maybe we need to go back and lighten the aircraft up then.
If it does make a difference, there's a problem in DCS.
Maybe. We've got a few minutes, so let's go and try it. What we're going to do, valued viewers, the idea that making the plane so heavy may affect our results. So let's go and quickly strip it of its weight, strip it of its fuel. It's now a light A10. And we're going to try it again. Also, I found a more accurate way of measuring that rotation. The rotation way we're doing it isn't particularly scientific. So what we'll do instead of rotating is we'll pick a speed, let's say 140 knots. We'll stop the simulation when it gets to 140 knots. Now, the reason I'm doing that is because it's much easier for me to be scientifically perfectly stopping at 140 knots. And you'll see what I mean on this first run. So let's go and go. Right, it actually accelerates really quickly when you're not loaded up, like a bloody fighter.
Which makes sense.
Okay, now what I'm going to do, valued viewers, is slow it right down so we can get the exact moment that pops over to 140. And we can get it in yellow, accurate a couple of feet at this point. Ping, exactly game engine 140 knots. Wow, it's so much smaller. Oh, it's a fraction of what it was. Wowza. So, without holding the brakes, and I quote, 0.345. Okay, brakes on, and full power and hold. Neutral stick. Going to absolutely max, and we are, and go. Nose wheel steering off. Just going in faster this time, I think. God, that went even faster. Exactly the same within, literally, that is 12 feet. It doesn't make any difference in the sim. Heavy A10, light A10, it's not making any difference. I mean, in terms of distance we care about, and that's, what, 11 feet or something. That works out like the difference. Less than a wing of an A10. Sorry, that's been really weird and we've gone around the houses there. But for some reason in the sim, if we do a spool and hold, we are not taking it off in any shorter distance. Or at least measure or meaningful distance. In terms of time, again, it depends how you measure it. If you measure from before the spool, then it takes longer. If you measure from after the spool, then it's quicker. I don't think there's any point of trying it with an afterburning jet. It's just, I don't see the point. The problem with an afterburning jet, no, actually you can't, because we've got nothing that can hold the power. The reason I chose an A10 is because we can sit and hold the power with the brakes, right?
Maybe it's opposite. Maybe you should try it with a very slow spooling jet. That's actually like a 15.
Well, we've got an average spooling jet here, but the problem with that, Ozzy, is you can't hold the brakes. It will just
on a MiG-15?
Oh, MiG-15, right.
Yeah.
Possibly, yeah.
That's the slowest spooling engine I think we have.
Well, Artie's saying use mil power, but you're offsetting the science a bit now if you say, okay, just hold the brakes, but only go into a certain amount of power. Anyway, you guys haven't convinced me that you've got an argument there. I'm going to back this one back to the valued viewers, and if someone can really give me a convincing argument to say that there's a reason to go and start checking it with jets, and find a real proper way of doing it to the nearest fraction of a second, then we'll give it a go. But otherwise, I think we'll wrap this one up. We'll put this one to bed for now, guys.